Join us at Women of Courage and celebrate the achievements of women. Before we begin, we're going to take a few moments to collect ourselves and to relax before we engage into our discussion. What we need to do is to focus now on bringing positive energy into our lives and into the world. The energy that we project every day is the same energy that we get back. We have all seen those people that can walk into a room and they glow. People want to be around them. People feel better being in their presence. That's the energy that we need to create. And once we learn how to do this, our lives will be filled with greatness. We will attract that positive energy. And how we can do this is by changing our outlook, meeting every day with gratitude, thankfulness, optimism, and once you do this, you will see a change in yourself. I want you to take a moment and close your eyes. Think about everything positive in your life. Family, friends, a career, your faith. All of this is how you start your day. Every morning when you wake up, I want you to think about what is positive in your life. I want you to list 10 reasons why your life is amazing. You will see the change. You will be changed. You will begin to attract life's blessings. Lead with gratitude. Be thankful and think positive. The Women of Courage show is brought to you by the Women and Children's Restoration Ministries. The Ministries is a reading ministry. We believe the world becomes alive when it is explained through reading. Thus, our presentation to you today. All of our efforts are toward demonstrating that when women work together, they win. Yet women cannot win without knowledge and power. Neither of these abilities can come without reading. Power is the ability to make things happen, to move things, or to bring about a particular event. Knowledge is power and education is power. Without either, a person is ineffective to bring about a particular event. Without violence, power is never given, it is always taken. Our attempt to take power has to be without violence because of our lack of testosterone. Consequently, women must learn how to take power and learn how to manage it without mimicking men. The only way we can accomplish any of this is to gain knowledge through reading. You may think that you are too busy to read, but you need the information that I have accumulated for you. You are an integral part of our effort. We are trying to reach the women who have given up, the adulteress, the whore, the woman who does not believe, the woman who's contemplating suicide, the woman who wakes in the morning hating her husband, the woman who screams at her children, the woman who has lost her home, the woman who has failed at school, or the woman who is bitter over her divorce. I am looking for the betrayed, the adulteress, the whore, and the downtrodden. I am looking for the woman who wants to fight back but does not know how to fight. I want them to know that the battle is not over. Failure is just another way of standing up. I am trying to reach these women because I want to try and save their lives. Now to the video of why you are here. We present the video Notable Black Women. Here is something you need to know. The most prolific readers in the United States are educated black women. That's correct. Educated black women read more books than anyone else in the United States.
The Women of Courage show is being broadcast by the Women and Children Restoration Ministries to help you problem solve, to help you dream again, to help you believe that anything is possible. We want you to believe that you do not have to marry the first man that you see just for someone to take care of you. You do not have to live a life of drudgery. You can educate yourself. All you have to do is learn to read competently. We want you to take a chance on yourself. Stop believing all the soothsayers around you that have never left the state in their lives. People who do not have the courage to fly. People who only think of lying, cheating, and stealing. You can live an exciting life. All you have to do is believe that you can make your dreams come true. You do not have to go to bed with someone you despise, day in and day out. You have the right to marry someone that you can talk to, someone that believes in you and has faith in you as a human being. In other words, you do not have to settle for just anyone. But what you must do is strive toward your goal. You must be goal-oriented. You must organize yourself. You must be clear about what you want in life and why you want such a life. All of us are made up of dreams. As our dreams unfold in our lives, our spirit soars. Realizing our dreams become a problem because oftentimes we are beaten down by our friends and family. We're beaten down at school by people laughing at us because of our shoe size, ear size, breast size, saying nothing will come of our lives.
The 11 notable black women who ran for President of the United States. As you know, March is Women's Month. March 8th has been designated the International Women's Day. This day is celebrated by women all around the world. The day is accompanied by a theme. Women around the world incorporate this theme in their celebration. In some countries, the celebration of this day is met with resistance. The people in power, which are normally men, do not want any recognition given to women. The men want to maintain the status quo. I'm in power and you are not. You do what you're told and I will do the telling. In America, we too celebrate March as Women's Month, but we celebrate the entire month of March as Women's Month. I add my effort by writing about notable black women. Each week in March, I try to deliver a good solid article about a notable black woman. This task is extremely important to me since my entire life has been dedicated to supporting the efforts of women rising from poverty. Though talented, my mother and aunt never lived the life they wanted, so I speak for them. As I prepare for March 2021, I am a little dismayed because I do not think my writing has been effective. I feel I've missed something in my zeal to get information out to women. I believe some black people amass black history to put forth to white people the proposition, see, we are somebody, whereas black history should be presented to children as their heritage, behavior to be emulated. The emphasis should not be on making white people believe we are somebody, but making ourselves believe we are somebody. This is what the Black Panthers were trying to accomplish. Over and over again, we must teach children principles, standards, and ethics, lest these children end up in prison or on the street as prostitutes. I have decided to try something new and different this year. I'm going to write about notable black women, but I'm going to discuss these women once a week on my show Women of Courage on WHPR to make certain this information is remembered and passed on to children. I wrote about a woman last year, yet I have not heard her name mentioned once. This woman was important. This woman left home to go to church. All she wanted was to get to church on time, arrive at church a few minutes early so she could fix her hair, adjust her clothes, to sing in the church choir. Church was a big affair to the black community. One could worship and socialize at the same time. Anyway, this woman stood outside waiting for a trolley. Well, her trolley didn't come. The white trolley came. So, not to be late for church, she boarded the white trolley. Well, the white driver threw her off the trolley and injured her. She decided to sue the trolley company. She ended up being defended by a young lawyer who just passed the bar, who would later become the President of the United States. Think about it. All this woman wanted to do was to get to church on time. Yet she ended up making history. Can you tell me who this woman was? She should be remembered and her story told to children. She was the one who fought against segregated transportation. She lived more than 100 years before Rosa Parks. We walk in this woman's footsteps because she stood up for herself. She said the conductor threw her off the trolley like a dog. Normally, the women I discuss as notable black women are women who are dead. This year on my show, I'm going to discuss 15 notable black women. All of these women are alive except one. The woman who is dead died last year. She was murdered. I want you to remember this woman. I want you to discuss this woman with your children. This woman believed in herself, and she also believed in her community. For this, she should be remembered. Below, I discuss the 11 black women who ran for President of the United States. They too should be remembered. You're going to like these women. They were spirited and had a sense of humor. Yet they were dead serious in their aspirations. They had the courage to say, I can do the job as well as a man. One thing you must understand about the black women born in the 1920s, the 1930s, and the 1940s, they were determined to the point of death. They chose whatever path opened to them, regardless if that path was fraught with danger. You have no idea the number of black women who have died all around the world seeking liberation. Many of these women held two jobs and worked themselves to death. The only place you will find their names is on the tombstones in your local cemetery. Some black women went with whatever political party that gave them a voice and an opportunity. Remember Angela Davis and Ruby Dee. These particular 11 women were going to be heard. The problem with understanding black women is they believe. Any person that believes will never fit a mold or a definition. A person who believes is dangerous to the people who are in power. They never conform. They refuse to be harnessed. That person will fight until the day they die. Reading Black history should not be a pastime or something you do in the doctor's office. Reading Black history should be a gleaming moment. Every resource must be used for encouragement. Every resource must be used to support. Every tale must be digested and reaffirmed in your conduct. Else, why bother reading? Let me tell you a story. I was 8 years old. My family lived in a tenant apartment complex where everyone had a front and back door. My family lived on the second floor. We had a wooden landing and a long stairway down to the ground. The stairway was open to the air. Off from the stairway was a holding bin for coal. My sisters and brothers and I had to bring the coal up to the house in a bucket twice a day. As you know, coal is dirty and dusty, so it has to be cleaned up lest you track the dirt into the house. My mother was fastidious. Her house was going to be clean. Well, it was my turn to bring the coal upstairs. After putting the coal in two stoves, I went outside to clean the coal dust from in front of our back door. I washed down the area near the back door. On the landing, there was a white man working on the stairs. He was the landlord. I had put some Cheer washing powder in the bucket to clean the area away. When I finished working, I walked down the stairs to throw the Cheer box in the trash. I thought I had used all the washing powder in the box. The white man stopped me. He said, "Young lady, what are you doing?" I said, "I'm going to throw this box away." He said, "Don't do that. Go and get your bucket and bring me some water." I did as he asked. He set the bucket down on the ground and poured the water into the Cheer box. He shook the box, then he poured the water into the bucket. What I saw was fuzzy water in the bucket. He said, "See, there is always something left." That man changed my life by demonstrating to me it paid for me to evaluate my actions and to evaluate my way of thinking. I never forgot this lesson. Lessons can be learned from reading Black history that can change lives. When you think about it, Black histories are how-to manuals. I am going to pause for a second to take a short break while you listen to information regarding willpower and encouragement. It is all a matter of learning new behaviors. And please remember, it is easier to build strong minds than to repair injured people. What I said is a modification of a quote by Frederick Douglass. He said, "It is easier to build strong children than to repair broken men." Now for my break.
There's never such a powerful tool as information. It is the only weapon you need to overcome your challenges and reach a truce with your enemies. How then can you get the vital information you need when the world is so mean, so chauvinistic, and so isolating? How many times have you realized you're on the wrong road and without a U-turn sign? Until I took my first step to purchase and read The Women of Courage, I was lost and distressed. I hated the path of my life. There was no U-turn for me, and I knew I was lost. The book series by Gloria Lee brought me back. It gave me the courage to rebrand myself and live more. My fellow women, don't worry about the breeze of distress and fear that may have enslaved you today. You have the chance to make a U-turn and make yourself happy. Spend a few dollars on this book series. Unlock your box of gold in life. For the prices and detailed information about the books, go to touchedbylight.us/the-women-of-courage-books and get your copies. Women of Courage. When we work together, we win.
Okay, now to the 11 notable black women who ran for the President of the United States. The first woman was Charlene Mitchell. She ran at the age of 38. Charlene Mitchell was an African American international socialist. She was a feminist. She was a laborer, and she was a civil rights activist. She represented the Communist Party when she ran for president in 1968 on a platform dedicated to correcting decades of racial and economic inequities. She joined the party when she was 16 years old. Mitchell was the first African American woman to run for president in the United States. She was on the ballot in 2 states. Mitchell said early in her campaign that she expected her vote to be small, but that would not determine the success of her campaign. Mitchell said that the indicator of her success would not be determined by the success of her campaign. Mitchell said that the indicator of success was whether or not communists would be able to present to the American people their views and their platforms in a way that the American people can begin to understand what communists see as some of the solutions to the problems in our country. She remains active. Her year of birth was 1930. The next black woman to run for president of the United States was Shirley Ann Chisholm. Shirley Chisholm was an American politician. She was an educator and an author. In 1968, she became the first black woman elected to the United States Congress. She represented the state of New York, the 12th congressional district, for several terms from 1969 to 1983. When she entered Congress, she said, "I have no intention of just sitting quietly and observing. I intend to focus attention on the nation's problems." She advocated against the Vietnam War and against a defense appropriation bill until, as she put it, the time comes when our values and priorities have been turned right side up again. Ms. Chisholm ran for president in 1972. She sought the Democratic presidential nomination. Her year of birth was 1924. Third black woman to run for president was Margaret Wright, age 54. Margaret Wright was a community activist. She was a politician and a factory worker. She also worked as an education minister with the Black Panther Party. She ran for president in 1976 on the People's Party ticket, according to a college historian. She was an advocate for racial equality, workers' rights, and education reform. When Ms. Wright announced her candidacy, she said that the country is really ready for a change. I've been discriminated against because I'm a woman, because I am black, and because I'm poor, and because I'm fat, and because I'm left-handed. Her year of birth was 1922. The fourth woman to run for president, her name was Isabella Masters. She was 71 years old. Isabella Masters was an educator. She earned a doctorate from the University of Oklahoma. She worked and taught in several large cities. Her husband, Alfred Masters, became the first African American to enlist in the United States Marines when he was sworn in June 1st, 1942. While raising 6 children, Miss Masters started her own political party. She ran for President of the United States 5 times in 1984, 1992, 1996, 2000, and 2004, according to the History Company. During a 1987 interview, she said, "I think if God had meant for a woman to be relegated to the rear of a man, he would have taken that rib from Adams' back instead of on his side. Her son, Walter Ray Masters, was her running mate in 1992. Her daughter, Shirley Jean Masters, was her running mate in 1996. The fifth black woman to run for president in the United States, her name was Lenora Fulani. Lenora Fulani received a doctorate in developmental psychology. She worked as a psychologist and a psychotherapist in the New York City area. She was also a political activist. She was concerned with racial equality, gay rights, political reform, and specifically to encourage a third party. This endeavor led her to run for President of the United States in 1988. She headed the New Alliance Party ticket. She became the first woman and the first African American woman to achieve ballot access in all 50 states. She received more votes for president in a U.S. general election than any other woman until Jill Stein of the Green Party of the United States. She said in a book authored by Omaha Ali entitled African Americans and the Presidency, The Road to the White House. She said, "My own involvement in third party politics was based on wanting to create a way out of being essentially held hostage to a two-party system that was not only hostile to black Americans, but hostile to the democratic participation of all American people." She was born in 1970. The next black woman to run for president was Monica Moorhead. She worked as a teacher and a writer most of her life, but she became a political activist when she was 16. She worked for the Black Panther Party, distributing their newspaper. She joined the Workers' World Party in 1972. She ran on the Workers' World Party ticket for the President of the United States during the 1996, 2000, and the 2016 elections. The party was built on the socialist principle that workers should unite and be empowered. During her 2016 presidential campaign, she said, "As a revolutionary working class party, we use these elections to present a real alternative to the empty promises that the Democrats and the Republicans convey every 4 years." Her vice president running mate was Gloria La Riva. Monica Moorhead was born in 1952. The next black woman to run for president of the United States, her name was Angel Joy Chavez Rocker. She ran when she was 34 years old. Angel Rocker was working as a guidance counselor when she ran for the president in the 2000 election as a Republican. Angel Rocker had no political experience, no name recognition, no campaign money, yet she forged ahead. She wanted her views to be heard. She thought the Democratic Party was taking advantage of black voters. She believed if the Democratic Party learned that the Republican Party was siphoning off their voters, then the Democratic Party would treat black voters better. She lost the party's nomination to former President George Bush. She told the Orlando Sentinel, "We need to recruit a new breed of Republicans. My candidacy will force the Republican Party to look at itself and decide if it is a big tent or not." She said she wanted to focus on improving schools and replacing the current tax system with a flat tax. Angel Joy Rocker was born April 29, 1966. She died February 25, 2003. The black woman to run for President of the United States was Carol Elizabeth Mosley Braun. Carol Braun was an Illinois attorney when she was elected in 1992 to be a United States Senator. She became the first black woman elected to the Senate. She later went on to run for president in 2004. In a 2003 interview, she said that I wanted to serve my country. I had come back after having served as an ambassador to New Zealand and found that I had real concerns about the direction in which this country was headed. And so I decided, after friends really encouraged me to get back into public life, that this office was the one that had the most suited to my skill, if you will, that I brought to public service. So that's why I'm running. Mosley Braun was the first African American female elected to the United States Senate. She was the first African American elected to the Senate from the Democratic Party. She was also the first woman to defeat an incumbent senator in an election, and she was the first female United States Senator from Illinois. Her year of birth was 1947. This woman to run for a presidential election was Cynthia Ann McKinney. Cynthia McKinney was the first black woman elected to represent Georgia in the House of Representatives in 1992. She served 6 terms in the United States House of Representatives as a member of the Democratic Party. In 2008, Cynthia McKinney ran as the Green Party nominee for president. She said of her candidacy, well, you know, the Green Party has been very conveniently put into a box, and it's convenient for the other political parties to say, oh, well, you know, they're just environmentalists. Yes, the Green Party is committed to a healthier environment, but the Green Party is not solely committed to just that. In fact, the policy prescriptions that the Green Party advocates are based on 4 pillars. These pillars include not only ecological wisdom, but peace, social justice, and grassroots democracy. The Atlanta Journal-Constitution paper describes Ms. McKinney as a conspiracy theorist trying to refute everything from COVID-19 to the damage done by Hurricane Katrina. Cynthia McKinney now works as an assistant professor at the North-South University in Bangladesh. She holds a PhD from Antioch University. She was born in 1955. The 10th black woman to run for president of the United States name was Petta Lindsay. She ran when she was 28 years old. Petta Lindsay began her political activism while in grade school. She continued her activism through high school and college. She became an anti-war activist when she began to protest the Iraq War in 2003. In 2012, Petta Lindsay ran on the Party for Socialism and Liberation ticket. Petta Lindsay did not meet the age requirement of 35 years old to be a president. Ms. Lindsay said, well, fundamentally, we are trying to change the system itself. You know, we think this is a rotten system. It's a corrupt system. It's a system whereby, you know, we find massive profits for the wealthy and few and increasing misery for the rest of us. Increasing misery for the working people in this country. She was on the ballot in 13 states: Arkansas, Colorado, Florida, Iowa, Louisiana, Minnesota, New Jersey, New York, Rhode Island, Utah, Vermont, Washington, and Wisconsin. The campaign received 7,791 votes. Petta Lindsay is currently working as a teacher in Los Angeles. She was born in 1984. The last black woman that ran for President of the United States was Senator Kamala Harris. Senator Kamala Harris announced she was running for president January 27, 2019. She said, "I'm running to fight for an America where no mother or father has to teach their young son that people may stop him, arrest him, chase him, or kill him because of his race." Ms. Harris made history when she was inaugurated January 20th, 2021 as the Vice President of the United States. She is the first woman, the first black person, the first Asian American to become Vice President of the United States. She again made history when she swore in two recently elected Georgia senators, Reverend Raphael Warnock and John Ossoff. She also swore in her successor, Alex Padilla. Alex Padilla will become California's first Latino senator. February 5th, 2021, Vice President Harris cast her first ever tie-breaking vote in the Senate on a budget resolution that is a key step toward fast-tracking the passage of President Joe Biden's $1.9 trillion coronavirus relief plan without Republican support. She struck the gavel and said, "The yeas are 50, the nays are 50, the Senate being equally divided. The Vice President vote in the affirmative, and the concurrent resolution as amended is adopted." She declared this around 5:30 a.m. to the applause of fellow Democrats. With the sound of the gavel, history in the United States was changed forever. The Women and Children's Restoration Ministry is a reading ministry founded on the principle that if one reads, one can manage his or her life successfully. The benefit of reading is enlightenment. Reading brings about self-awareness, and reading teaches one to problem solve, even if the problem is managing one's emotions. We advocate that people read all of their lives. We believe reading opens the door to possibilities and shows a person how to tap into his or her imagination as others have done before them. Reading is also a way out of poverty and ignorance. Poor children are overwhelmed at birth, especially black male children. Since the dissolution of the black family, 85% of black children are raised by women who are poorly trained and ill-suited to be parents. You are ill-suited to be a parent if you refuse to take time to read to your child or read for yourself. You are ill-suited to be a parent when you stick your child in front of a television or video game so he or she will be out of your hair. You are ill-suited to be a parent when you continue to bring non-related males into your home straight from the bar just because the man winked at you. You are ill-suited to be a parent if you teach your daughter that all she has to do in life is to put her buttocks and breasts out to attract a man. And you are surely ill-suited to be a parent when all you think about is walking around, allowing your derriere to flop in the wind, thinking your buttocks is going to attract some man. Our children are surrounded by people living by tradition instead of living by creativity and hope. Black children are not supported at home to read. Black children are not being taught to value reading. There are black homes where there is not one book in the house. The children do not even receive a book for a present. Black children are not being given a chance to stand up and bat because they are being defeated in the crib. Black Americans are not advancing because They do not read. If you can't read, wear it, or drink it, many blacks are not interested. How many bookstores are in your neighborhood? How many books have you read this year? How many conversations do you have with people about a book that you read? There is a saying that has been repeated throughout generations. If you want to hide something from a black man, put it in a book. This saying is disgusting. Lack of knowledge is why black people get duped in business, why black women lack self-esteem and easily participate in sexual sin. Many black people cannot read an insurance policy or a purchase agreement. Our young men cannot receive training because they cannot read. They cannot take an exam for a driver's license because they cannot read. And what do? Nothing. Oh, we talk. Talk is easy. It makes one look intelligent. The telling point is there is no action behind the talking. The lack of self-knowledge is why we sell our bodies, why we think having a big butt makes us attractive. And once we get a clipboard and an ink pen, we think we're better than the next black woman. Reading will stop you from acting a fool on your job. Reading will make you think twice before screwing your best girlfriend's husband. Reading will not only teach you about jealousy, envy, and greed, it will teach you the consequences of these emotions. It is incumbent on us all to do something about this problem, lest we face one of these uneducated men breaking into our homes, because surely violence is associated with the lack of education. Once a child is born, every decision made by the mother affects that child, including the toothpaste that you purchase at the store. I want you to consider reading. Stand up and let God see you working to change. Today we are going to discuss the book series, Women of Courage. The book series comes in 3 parts. It's part 1, part 2, and then a workbook designed to help you develop yourself. I believe this book will help a lot of women determine the course of their lives. Enjoy reading.
The Women of Courage series was written to help women learn about themselves and to turn women into winners. You do not have to settle for life prophesized by your teachers, the church, your parents, or your friends. You can change the scenarios and play the starring role. In order for women to learn to believe in themselves, to become the person they want to be, it is important for women to know where they came from. History is the standard by which we judge ourselves. If you have a good self-image, you will believe the sky is the limit. You can do anything or become anyone. But if you have a poor self-image, your thinking will be chaotic and you may never reach your goal. For centuries, women have played an important role in the development of society, yet this role has been practically ignored in folklore and in history books. Men have always had the starring role. Men have been the keepers of faith. Men have been the saviors of society. Men have been valiant, steadfast, and true, while women have been relegated to the sidelines where the peace setters were men. Today we shall put the story straight. The everyday slugfest that was carried on by ordinary women for century after century after century has never been told. Today we present a pictorial representation to give you another view of the fight conducted by women. Pay particular attention to the conditions in which the women worked and note this was a fight for survival. Modern history is written on the back of women who chose not to conform. Our history books are littered with examples of powerful women like Rosa Parks, Malala Yousafzai, and the Triangle Shirtwaist factory workers. But for every tale of a woman's success and perseverance, there is a harrowing backstory of tribulation and strife. Things are better now, we say. It's not like it used to be. But turn on the news. Turn on the news in your own city. Turn on the international news. Women are suffering from the restrictive society in Saudi Arabia to your own neighborhood. It's better, but ask yourself, is it good enough? Women of Courage tells a tale of women, from the harrowing story of early women to their victorious perseverance. It tells tales that have not been told enough, examples of how women have the strength to put their foot down and map their own future. Read their stories and become better equipped to write your own story by changing your behavior and becoming a woman of courage. Why are only a few women in history books? Why are women left out of leadership positions? Why are 21st century women struggling with the same issues that 20th century women fought against? The series Women of Courage gives answers to these questions. Millions of women all over the world are living in fear, unhappy, and unfulfilled, wishing they could do more with their lives. If you are one of these women, fearful and unhappy, take the bold step and purchase the series Women of Courage. Read and learn how other women met these challenges and succeed in living fulfilling lives. Read the series Women of Courage and learn how you can change your life forever. Women of Courage is an inspirational book that seeks to tell the stories of strong women who have persevered, even when those threatened by a woman's strength have stood in the way. It's a book for all women, a book to help more of us stand up and say, it's about time. It's a book for you. Get your copy from touchedbythelight.us. If you have reached a point where you are stuck, having a sense of tiredness coming from seeing all of your dreams and visions of success get obscured with the lack of experience, guidance, and knowledge necessary for success, learning from Women of Courage may be the most important thing you've read this year. Living a passionate life in a hectic and busy 21st century is getting increasingly harder. Women of Courage series will provide you with all the inspiration, courage, and role model you need to get inspired and take your life in your hands and start living as bravely, as passionate as you deserve. Most aspiring individuals end up missing a huge amount of opportunities due to the lack of training and tools that would allow you to overcome psychological barriers, limiting beliefs, fears, and lack of creativity that you could potentially face during your journey as a successful woman. This lack of proper guidance manifests itself in lowered performance and productivity and failure to unleash your full potential and show the world what you can truly do. If you lack the attitude and psychology, proper resources, or vision to make your dreams a reality, combined with dissatisfaction with the execution of your plans, but you remain firmly dedicated to making your ambitions a reality, you will certainly derive the most benefit from the incredible Women of Courage series. If you are serious about taking your life to a whole new level and enjoying the privileges of creativity, fearlessness, and success that all the brave women who have changed the world are equipped with, you are in the right place. Don't leave your future to chance. Get a new sense of strength, inspiration, and courage with Women of Courage series. You'll be so glad you did. Guaranteed. Achieve what you're after.
We hope this brief synopsis of women trying to become productive members of society by joining the workforce will inspire you to go further with your life. Remember, women and children make up the largest part of the most vulnerable people in society. Even with industrialization, globalization, and the new knowledge economy, women's position in society leaves much to be desired. The vast majority of women are still uneducated. Millions and millions of children are still living in poverty. Society has ensnared women into playing second fiddle. Society has taught women to settle for whatever life has to offer. Society says, stop dreaming, be practical. Happiness is an illusion, but it doesn't have to be that way. One can realize their dreams and be happy. Misty Danielle Copeland did not accept a letter telling her at age 13 she could never be a ballerina. In 2015, Miss Copeland became the first African-American woman to be promoted to principal ballerina in ABT's 75-year history. You can change the scenarios with you playing the starring role. Now is time for a change. Read Women of Courage and get inspired. The series Women of Courage seeks to tell the stories of strong women who have persevered, even when those threatened by a woman's strength have stood in the way. The series is for all women, to help more of us stand up and say, it's about time. Ask yourself this question: what can't women do? If you falter in answering the question, you need to read the series Women of Courage. Get your copy today at https://touchedbythelight.us.
We hope you enjoyed our presentation. Every now and then we must remind ourselves of those that have gone before us, lest we forget the ground we stand on was built by the lives of other courageous women. We wanted you to see the women that fought unimaginable battles while standing alone. We wanted you to see the paths blazed by women who gave their lives to be themselves. The only reason why women are able to attend university today is because women fought for this right yesterday. The only reason why there are female police officers today is because women fought for this right yesterday. Remember, women were left behind for centuries. Our intellect was dismissed. Women had to fight and fight and fight for recognition. Some women fought their entire lives. They risked it all. Millions and millions of women spent countless nights writing letters, making signs, petitioning the courts, walking picket lines, and being beaten by family members. These women were rebuked by their fathers and husbands and disciplined physically. Some spent nights in jail. Many were spat upon. Yet these women persevered. They did any and everything they could think to do just to be free to express themselves. Now we ask that you purchase the series Women of Courage on our website, touchedbythelight.us. This knowledge will enhance your life. A portion of the purchase price will go towards programs for women and children. We ask that you share this knowledge with your young children and encourage women to purchase the series. It's important that we never forget that women contributed equally to the success of mankind. You have 3 choices. You can sit on your couch and do nothing. You can participate sometime hardly doing anything. Or you can step into the future that you designed. The decision is yours. What are you waiting for? You either stand up for yourself with the chance of winning or failing, or grow old, mean, bitter, and hateful, driving your children to run from home or move to another state because of your archaic ideas. Time is running out. What are you going to do?
Why must I recommend the book series to you? Women of Courage are books of women for women and by a woman. The first book inspires you through the successful lives of other women, women who perhaps were in a worse situation than you. The second book gives you insight into gender equality. It endows you with the knowledge to understand you need education, you need a job, and there's never a career limit for you. Its last book, The Workbook, tells you exactly how you can work out your way from the place where you are to the place where you belong. Maybe the society has convinced you you've acquired your maximum. I tell you, there's more than you think for you out there. Spend a few dollars on this book series. Unlock your box of gold in life. For the prices and detailed information about the books, go to touchedbythelight.us/the-women-of-courage-books and get your copies. Women of Courage, When we work together, we win.
If your vagina isn't working for you and you have a house filled with children and no husband, then you need to change. You need to start reading to learn how to win at life. You will learn a woman should never be without money. If you have to choose between eating and spending your last dollar, you need to drink water. Never spend your last dollar. Drink water. Learn that you can gain freedom through reading and writing. Power can be black or green. Take care of yourself first. Otherwise, you will not be able to take care of anyone else. You need to visit the website touchedbythelight.us to read inspirational articles and to watch inspirational videos. These articles and videos can lead you out of the darkness. You must read. You can no longer keep conducting your life based on information that you learned 10, 15, or 20 years ago. Stop relying on what your friends have to say and their opinions. Read and get the facts and take control of your life. If you cannot read or you have a problem reading, find someone at the library that can help you. Stop wasting your life away by drinking alcohol and smoking marijuana just because you feel bad. God bless, and remember, believe in yourself and stand up. Join us at the Women of Courage show every Friday from 3 to 4 p.m. and every Sunday from 8 to 9 a.m. for information that will change your life. You can also visit us at our website, touchedbythelight.us, for more information. Thank you. If you do not like your life, then change it. Listen to us when we broadcast, and we can help you find a new way.